Filming with an infant is a whole sport. And I'm like, she's coming out. Like, when you are breastfeeding, you need to stay hydrated. Okay, let's start this. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it's finally the day where I have been able to get myself together and put the little one to sleep to film this video that is long overdue. So I didn't film my labor and delivery because because you know, life is short and you just have to cherish every moment. So I really just wanted to take all of that in and really just be in the moment and enjoy the entire experience. So I decided to sit down today and share with you guys my labor and delivery story. Also, I was by myself, so it was going to be very difficult to, you know, start setting up cameras and getting everything in place, and it was a bit much. So today we're going to be having a little chit chat where I talk to you guys about my labor and delivery experience as a first-time mom to my precious little girl. She's currently sleeping right now. Oh, she's awake. Oh my goodness. She's awake. She's actually awake. I'll be right back. Okie doke. So we have little miss here. She woke up. Somehow I was hoping to get through this video with her not waking up, but she said no. Right, baby? Right? Okay, so I'm going to make this as quick as possible because she's not going to last very long on here. Okay, so at 37 weeks, my doctor suggested to me that I consider an induction. At this time, I didn't know a thing about induction. Labor and delivery alone, the thought of that was scary enough. So when he suggested an induction, that even terrified me some more. At this point, I had enough confidence in myself to go through labor and delivery. Are you okay? At this point, I had enough confidence in myself to go through labor and delivery. And then when he suggested an induction, I was like, okay, I don't know anything about this. So I said to him that I'll have a think about it and I'll let him know what I think about it by my next week appointment. So 38 weeks came and I went in for my appointment. I said to him, okay, he suggested an induction actually because I was by myself at the time and he didn't want me to fall into labor in the middle of the night and obviously like have to rush to the hospital by myself and just have to deal with so much chaos. So I eventually agreed to it by my 38 weeks appointment, and he said to me that if baby's not here by 39 weeks, we were going to schedule an induction. So I went in for my 39 weeks appointment. She wasn't here yet. Okay, I had to put her down because she was not having it. So by 39 weeks, we agreed to have an induction for the following Saturday. So my appointments were always on Wednesdays, and so we agreed to have the induction for Saturday. So when I went in for my 39 weeks appointment, I think I was 1 centimeter dilated. I wasn't effaced at all, but the one thing that was always going for me was that she was at station, was it 3 now? Basically, she was at the lowest point. Actually, I've been there for a while. I would always feel that in the left side of my belly. Like I could literally feel her head there for a while. So he said to me that she was really low. He said that when I come in on Saturday, he'll check me again. Then he'll decide on what to start the induction with. So at this point, you know, I'm starting to now have all the feelings. Everything is really coming to life, right? I'm trying to read people's stories online, watch videos, and just basically educate myself on the induction process. So Saturday morning, I arrived at the hospital at about 9:30 a.m. I was so nervous and excited at the same time. It was such a weird mix of emotions. So I got checked into my room at about 10:30. They put me in like a temporary space, and then I got checked into my room at about 10:30, and all of the vitals were done, the blood work, baby's heartbeat was checked, and my blood pressure and all of that good stuff. At this point, I was still just 1 centimeter dilated, guys. and 0% effaced. So he said to me that they were going to start off with the gel, which is called, I think it's called prostaglandin. So he started off with a dose of that. This process was not painful at all. At this point, I was still all bubbly. I was in the mood. I was just trying to keep myself in the best possible mood that I could be in, because I knew that a lot was about to happen and I just needed to be in the right frame of mind. I had watched so many videos on your mindset and emotions and really just getting yourself in the right frame of mind for labor and delivery. I couldn't walk around at this point for an hour, and then said that after an hour I could walk around, eat, flex, do anything I wanted to do, just have a good time as, you know, labor would start to progress. So the wait time for this dose of the gel was 6 hours. So I think it was administered at 12 noon, and he said to me that at 6 o'clock they were going to check me again to see how far I had progressed. So at this time, like I said, I was eating. The hospital bag was really packed with all of the goodies. So I was eating, I was having a good time, chatting to my friends and all of that. At this point, I wasn't really feeling anything. I started to have contractions, but they were very far apart and they were not painful at all. So at about 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., he comes back to check me, and this time I was 3 centimeters dilated, and my uterus, my cervix wasn't getting any softer. So he said that they were going to administer a second dose of the gel. So I asked him what I was to expect with the second dose, and he said to me, I love your energy, you're smiling so much right now, but by the time I give you the second dose in a few hours, you're probably not going to be smiling. This didn't scare me as much because I really did go into the hospital with a very strong mind. So I got the second dose of gel at about 6. At about 8, 9, I started to feel those contractions coming in. Guys, oh my goodness. So I was trying my best to, I was doing everything I could to just keep saying to myself that, okay, this is not going to last for long. The contractions last for just a minute or thereabouts, and then you get a break, and then they start again. And at this point, I think they were about 10 minutes apart. So it wasn't that crazy. So at around 10 p.m., the contractions really started getting closer. They were very mild at first, like I said. It felt like just like when you're having a heavy period cramp. And for me, that's something that I've been used to for a long time. So I asked the nurse for one of those pregnancy balls, which she gave to me. So I started to bounce on that, and I found that that really helped with the contractions, like the pain. And luckily for me, the hospital had an amazing view. So I had like nature and a very huge park right in front of me. And I found that to be very calming. So I was literally just sat on the ball and I was just looking out the window and I just kept encouraging myself, telling myself, you can do this, you've got this, everything is going to be fine. My contractions were still a few minutes apart at this point, but they were pretty close. So a few hours later, I think it was about 11 p.m., the doctor came to check me to see how far I had progressed. And when he was doing the check, like, I had been getting checks from I think about 37 weeks, but this particular one, guys, it hurt so bad. I was screaming, I was kicking, I was losing it. Like it was a lot. Okay guys, we have to get through this video today. It's gonna be a struggle, but it's gonna happen. I'm not sure how you moms do this, but you guys are amazing. Filming with an infant is a whole sport. Hey, so she's back. So I can't really remember where I left you guys off because mom brain. I was getting checked again at about 11 and I was in so much pain, guys. The pain was unreal. It was crazy. He asked me if I wanted to get an epidural. I said no. And the reason I didn't want one was not because of anything crazy. I'm not anti-epidural. I just really love to be in control of my body. And I felt at the time that getting an epidural was going to numb me to the point where I wouldn't feel a thing. And I just didn't want that. I wanted to really feel the experience of, you know, birthing my baby. And Leah goes, okay, I'm going to suggest that you do, because you're going to be in a lot of pain. Depending on how this induction process goes, it could last a while. At this point, I was still saying no. I said no, I didn't want it. And so at about midnight, the nurse comes in and says to me that she asked me again if I've changed my mind about getting the epidural. And I said, no, I haven't. So she said to me that the anesthesiologist was just about to check out of the hospital for the day, that the moment he was gone for the night, if I changed my mind about the epidural, I was going to be stopped because he wasn't going to be available. So I told her to give me some time to have a think about it. A few minutes later, she pops back in, this time with the anesthesiologist and my doctor. So at this point, I was about 5 centimeters dilated, and he said to me that you're going to have to go up to a 10. And between now and then, it could get really hectic for you. He tried to assure me that everything was going to be fine and he could just get the needle in. So he says to me that he could just get the needle in, like he could just put it in and I don't have to have it flowing through. This argument went on for about 30 minutes between me, the doctor, the anesthesiologist and the nurse. And they just kept saying to me, oh, why don't you want to get it? I think you should get it. So I didn't want anyone to impose an epidural on me. So I asked for some time to think about it. And I remember the nurse and the doctor leaving and the anesthesiologist stayed back and he just said to me, like, he was so calming, guys. He was literally, I had the best team, I would say that. But this guy was the most amazing out of the bunch. So I remember him just really calming me down and saying to me, I totally understand where you're coming from. I know how that feels and you just have a think about it. I'm going to hang around for a few minutes and if you decide to change your mind, let me know. So a couple of minutes later, I rang in and I said that, okay, he could come put it in and I'll just start off with a really tiny dose like he had suggested. And if I wanted to up the dose, there was a little device just next to me that I could press and I would up the dose. He also told me that it usually wears off after a couple of hours. The process was pain-free. I had read a lot of gory stories about an epidural, you know, how it goes up your spine and you have to stay still, all of which are true. But honestly, I think, I don't know if it was the fact that the anesthesiologist was really good at what he did. He was very calming. He carried me along through the entire process. I also had the nurses hold my hands all through. Everyone around me just kept reassuring me that everything was going to be fine, and I found that that really helped me. I remember he kept asking me if I felt cramping at my back, and I said no, I don't feel a thing. At some point, I remember him even say something like, oh, that's strange, because I guessed you're supposed to feel some kind of something, but I didn't feel anything at all. It was a pain-free experience. At this point, I could barely feel the pain of my contractions, which was amazing. So at this point, I was hooked up on the IV fluid. I was also given some oxytocin. So they said to me that this was going to really help labor progress. They also said that it was going to intensify the contractions and make them much closer and more frequent, if that makes sense. My legs felt slightly numb. I could tell that the epidural was working more on my left side than it was on my right side. So, but that was fine. It wasn't anything, the difference wasn't anything drastic. So I decided to take a nap at this point because I was, I had all the time in the world and I didn't know when anything was going to happen. So I was really tired at this point and I decided to take a nap. So I was in and out of sleep at this point till about 5 a.m. when I started to feel really intense pressure. So the pressure woke me up from sleep, guys. Yes, baby, it did wake me up. She's agreeing with me, she remembers. This was completely new to me. I had done so much research over the past 10 months and I had learned so much about labor and delivery. I had taken so many hypnobirthing classes. I was ready. And then I started to feel this pressure. It literally felt like I had a bowling ball. Like, this part I didn't expect. I didn't know what to do. I was literally freaking out. So I called in the nurse and I told her what I was feeling. And she said to me, that's amazing. That means that baby is going to be here soon. And I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm moaning, I'm screaming, guys. And it just kept getting more intense. But the nurse kept reassuring me that everything was fine. This is how it goes. Just stay calm and baby's gonna be here soon, which is what I just kept saying to myself. I kept reassuring myself that I was going to meet her soon. I guess this is the point where people say that they feel like pooping. But for me, it just felt like a mix of pressure and pain as the contractions were happening. Because I knew when the contractions were happening, I just wasn't feeling any pain. So at 7 a.m., I had another check, and this was the last one. The nurse comes in to check me, and I didn't feel a thing this time. It was completely pain-free thanks to the epidural. Guys, the epidural was amazing. So at this point, I was 10 centimeters dilated. That was like the best news ever. I knew that it was time to get this baby out. The nerves really started to kick in at this point. The pressure kept getting way more intense. So at about 7:15, the nurses then said to me that I was going to do practice pushes until the doctor came up, and then it was time to go. We started off with the first practice push, and this little one's head was almost out. The nurses were in awe. They couldn't believe what was happening. So it got a bit chaotic at this point because they were expecting that it was going to take a while for her to come out and start to surface. She was sliding out herself, and I had been practicing pushing for 10 months. Come on, like, what do you mean by practice push? Started to ring in the doctor, asking him to come upstairs. And they were telling me, oh, just try to keep her in with the next contractions, keep her in, keep her in. And I'm like, she's coming out. Like, so I had 2 contractions before the doctor finally came up, and I did my best to hold her in, but she wasn't having it. She wanted to come out. Honestly, it's amazing what our bodies can do. I remember the doctor rushing in at this point, and with the next 2 contractions and pushes, baby girl was out, guys. She literally came out with 3 pushes. I feel like I had been practicing for so long, and I had prayed for this for so long to have a very quick delivery, and it was happening. I remember one of the nurses saying to me at the last push when her body was about to come out, she said to me, do you want me to give you a mirror so you could see it? And I'm like, no. My eyes are tight shut, and I remember I just felt her on my chest. They put her on my chest, and I remember taking my hand and just feeling her arm, and I couldn't believe she was here, guys. I could not believe she was here. And the nurse said to me, open your eyes and look at your baby. And I couldn't bring myself to opening my eyes, guys. Like, there were just too many emotions running through me at the time, and I couldn't believe it that I had my eyes closed for a few seconds, and eventually I opened them. I took her away, they cleaned her up and brought her back to me. She weighed 7 pounds and 14 ounces. She is perfect in every way. The entire process was a lot, but I'll do it again and again for her. Like, she's the most precious thing ever, right, baby? I feel so blessed to have gone through this process, to be honest. So I had her on Sunday, and by Monday I was back home, and yeah, guys, that's really how it went. For anyone out there, if you're like me and you're about to go through the same process, one thing I'll say to you is just go in there with a mindset that you're going to meet your baby soon, and everything is so going to be worth it. It's not going to last for long. Your baby's going to be with you soon, and that's just my little words of encouragement for you guys. Anyway, guys, this little one is starting to get really fussy, and I think she's hungry, so I'm gonna go now. And if you guys like this video, please give this video a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more from me. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Bye.